Everybody, Roll with Wes coming at you here. It's Thursday, man, and if you're out here where I am in the New York City area, of course, we got some snow coming down this time. I know in the South they just got some. It's been all over the place, and then next day it could be, 70 degrees. We don't know anymore. But coming at you, I want to encourage you, talking about it's not over, or it's not the end, actually. Um, and it's really shaping perspective. Everything a lot of times I talk about is really, it starts with our perspective and our thinking on the inside is what it is, so we can change our outward circumstances, things like that. Or sometimes it's not about always trying to change the outward circumstances. Sometimes we can get caught up with that and trying to control everything and really impose our own self-centered will on situations and people and outcomes, and miss the greater good that God's trying to do in the situation. Because God's not narrow-minded when we get locked in those things. God can see the big picture, see everybody else involved, and things like that. The reason why I'm talking about it's not the end. Many a times where we can come to this it's the end mentality is today I want to emphasize is when it's the end of maybe a season of one particular thing in life. One thing, it's hard. We don't like transitioning a lot of times. We don't like change because it can be unstable. It can be new. It forces us to grow. It forces us to let go of immaturity sometimes. It forces us, I think of the different transitions I've gone through in my life, such as, when I became a dad. It was a very different transition since, yes, coming out of high school. That's been a minute ago. But even then, coming out of that part of life, coming into being a dad later, coming into the different phases of a job, to different types of jobs, to youth pastoring, to lead pastoring, to now senior pastoring, to becoming a husband, from moving from Georgia to New York and adjusting to that, to coming out of different areas and seasons. Different friendships have changed over my lives, and not always a negative reason. It's just geographically some of those friendships have changed and things like that. So a lot of times where we can get this mindset of, man, it's the end, is we get locked in thinking that one season was meant to last for the rest of life. And so an end of a season becomes like the end of everything. The end of a relationship becomes the end of everything. And that could be loss. It could be a negative reason those things ended. But it's trying to get you to come out of that moment, because I've gotten stuck in these moments before myself, just sharing my own personal experience, where it's like, I can't believe that part's over. I can't believe this part's ending. Another example I give right here with this, I don't deal with my son like he's still a 5-year-old. We did certain things as a dad and son relationship that he enjoyed at 5, that now he'd look at me like, why are we doing this? Why are we going to the little jump ball playground? He's 14 now. We'll play video games or something, or watch more, different types of movies and things like that, or just do more active stuff that's more suitable for a teenager now. But imagine trying to hold on to what was back then, trying to recreate that, trying to not let that go. And we can do that and not realize those things were for a season to enjoy. But here's what we can miss when those things end, and we can get locked in the loss and the grief of it, instead of just saying, accepting, that was that for that time, for that season, and that was great for that season. But here's the new now. Imagine if I was still trying to handle my son like he was 5 and still trying to recreate that season and make that season last forever. I would miss out on the season he's in now. And that's what we do many of times in life, where we don't accept the end of one season that really is a God thing, that season transition, we're out of it. We never get to enjoy the new season. I can tell you, it's a season we're at with our church. People are I see people going through it, and our members and things like that. It's like, man, we were here post-pandemic. We were here before the senior pastor change. We were here. And I hear people talk about, get lost a little in the glory days sometimes. And it's like, those are amazing. We celebrate those. We honor. That's why we have anniversaries and things like that. But it sometimes people can miss what's happening now and what God's doing now, and seeing the change that is taking place in people's lives now. And man, I do every day. We have moments as a ministry and as a church here in this new thing where it's like people's lives are changing. God's doing new things, and being able to make that shift and that pivot. So when I say it's not the end, I just gave a lot of examples there. It's not the end. Don't let a end of a season or a moment or a loss or relationship or job status or marital status or any of those things, status, parental status, rob you of the fact that life overall is not over. And see, happiness can't, especially when you're dealing with God, happiness and its true pursuit is not found in a season or a moment. It's experienced in a season or a moment, don't get me wrong, but it supersedes seasons and moments when we change and we're able to shift to the next thing. But a lot of times we think, oh, that happiness is gone. And it may be gone in that season. It may be ended in that moment. It may be ended in that relationship. But overall life happiness is still obtained and found with God in other areas if we don't stick it into one small box and try to keep remanufacturing it. God wants to do new things in the new season is what it is. And so life is, the end is not here. There is technically with God no end because he's eternal and we are eternal beings, but it's understanding we transition. And the only time we really get locked in that it's the end moment is if we look at a season, we look at one situation, we look at one relationship, we look at one setback, one loss, and realize and forget all these other things that are going on and the rest of our lives we have to face. And not in dread, doom, and gloom, but man, there is something to experience. And right now in this new season of life, it's always being a new season. There's always seasons renewing. That's why we always say, new season, new season. Yeah, it's always renewing. Look in your life. You may be in certain areas experiencing a continuation of an old season that lasts longer than other seasons, which is good. It's great. It's still happening. But then there's new seasons coming in. And it's being able to be sensitive to know that and not get locked on the one thing. And happiness will come off on a whole different level. You will experience genuine happiness with God when you don't lock it all into one thing. And what does that ultimately come? Your happiness is flowing from this relationship of God in between you and him in all seasons because he transcends all seasons, all situations, all relationships. And then you experience it in all the rich, different ways, unique ways, seasonal ways, relationship ways, situational ways that he manifests himself that accumulate an overall life of happiness with him. All right, I hope that makes sense. I feel like that was probably a message I might have to teach on later because there was a lot of stuff in that. I've already gone 7 minutes. People start tuning out normally about 4 or 5, so I try to keep these short. But I hope it blessed you. I hope you listen to these all the way through. Hey, this Sunday, 4 o'clock in the Harlem location, we have service. Doors open at 4 o'clock. Hope to see you there. Details are on our pages here. If you're on one of these pages seeing this video, just scroll down. Be looking out for emails, texts, and all that good stuff. We'll keep you posted, and see you Sunday.